everybody, welcome. It's Lindis, and today I'm going to share with you guys my Elementalist build. It is basically Storm and Earth combined, but if you stay tuned towards the end of the video, there is a better version of this that I'm going to be talking about. It is a Rogue Storm version, which I haven't made yet, but I know it's going to be better. But this is a very tanky version, and then the Rogue Storm is going to be a very offensive version. But let me show you guys what I was using in the clips. First off, let me talk about the skills here. I'm using Ice Shards, so this is my Ice Shards Elementalist. I'm using Storm Nimbus and Earth Enchant. We'll get into this later on the Earth Enchant and why I'm using it. So my weapon, since we are dealing a lot of cold damage on my weapon, don't pay attention to the damage on it. Nobody cares about the damage on here. What you really want is cold damage and spell damage. You only want to pay attention to the stats on it. You want cold damage and spell damage, and then try and get more cold damage. I think you can double roll cold damage. You want to get spell damage on there, and you want to get ailment or ailment power on there, or ailment chance. Those are the things you want for. The main thing you want is spell damage, cold damage, and crit chance. Try and get those. You don't need the energy regeneration. Armor, you want to just get vigor and some resistances. Then for your shoulders, you want to get crit chance or crit chance and ailment empowerment. Either one of those would be really good. Helmet, try and get cast speed. And then for your boots, just get movement speed, resistances, and that's about it. Gloves, you want to get cold damage and maybe ailment chance. I don't know if it rolls on roll on the gloves or not. The main reason I made this build was because of these two rings that I found. And they are just slightly different, but they are perfect for this build. You want spell damage, cold damage, and crit chance. Those are all three that you want. Fire damage is a little bit of a bonus, even though it's not exactly helping us out all that much. And for belt, you can go with this, the Wellspring. If you don't have the Wellspring,
need something stored?
I can show you a alternative, which is this belt right here. You just want basically energy and attribute increase. Anything else is not really gonna benefit us too much. You can go with health regen too if you want. It all depends, up to you. There's nothing really too offensive that we could use on here besides another epic, but I have it on my rogue. But yeah, that is about it for the gear. Now let's talk about let's talk about our how things work. So we're using Ice Shards, and our damage is actually scaling off of course, Ice Projectile Spell, but it's also scaling off of reserved energy. So the more energy you reserve, the more damage you're gonna get. So that is why we have two auras that are reserving energy, and that is giving us a lot more damage. So if you can see right here, I am at 502. With this, I get 940, but I'm also getting benefits from the Nimbus. It's giving me some more cold damage. But for Earth Enchant, even though it doesn't give us any cold damage, if you reserve though, it's gonna give us a lot more damage because we're scaling off a reserve. So let's go into our stats here. For attributes, just dump it all into knowledge. That's pretty much it. You don't need to do anything too crazy. So our knowledge is branching off into resolve, and that is where we're getting our damage too, from knowledge, because you're getting cold damage. So let's go into Masteries. We'll start off with Storm, and we'll go into Ice Shard, our main skill. So you want to max this out all the way to 17. I would start off with trying to get Homing, Torrent, and then Chaos. And then later on, you dump into Infused Shards. So homing is gonna home into the monsters. It's gonna make it a lot easier for all your projectiles to hit the monsters. Then Torrent is going to add an additional projectile, and Chaos is going to give you a lot more projectiles. But this is a requisite, so you got to get this to get this. And then Fuse Shards, this is where the synergy kind of comes into play. When you reserve your energy, you get more cold damage, so that's why we're getting a lot more cold damage. So that is the setup for that. Then we have our Aura, which is our Storm Nimbus, and you just want to go into Storm Enchant to reserve more energy, but we're also going to get more cold damage. Then this is kind of optional, but I went with Frost Armor because you're reserving energy, but you're also getting a little bit of like retention when enemies hit you. You're dealing a little bit of damage back. But you can also go into like cold resistance or lightning resistance for more survivability. You can get extra tanky. It's very versatile with this build because you can swap in between resistances really easily. So that is what you can do right there. And then we go into, we'll talk about the passes right here, but we go into Storm Attunement. We're getting a lot more cold damage, spell damage, projectile damage. And then you want to go into Raging Mind, go into Cast Speed, or Crit Chance. Either one of these are really good. Eventually I'll get Crit Chance. It's very hard stacking Crit Chance on Earth version of this build, but the Rogue version is going to be a whole lot easier. But that's basically for another day. Then you want to go into Arcane Influx, and you want to get, actually you can take that off and probably swap it out into something else. Yeah, you could probably get more energy, because we don't need energy regeneration, because this is only 15.4 energy to cast the skill. You can spam this easily. Another great thing about this build is you don't need to worry about energy regeneration. Absolutely fantastic. So let's go back into Masteries. I think I covered all that in your Storm Guidance. We're just getting projectile damage, and you want a little bit of homing in there. Reduce your projectile speed. The slower it is, it has better like tracking. You can fool around with it if you want, or you can go penetration. Depends on what you want to do. So let's go into Earth. For passives, we went with more maximum energy, because we need to get a lot of energy so we can keep reserving more to get more damage. But this is also very good too, because you get more spell damage as well, so it's pretty nice. And then we can get crit chance and spell damage, more spell damage, but your cost is going to go up a little bit, which is fine, because our move doesn't really take that much. So let's go back in here, and this is, you want to use this aura. You want to get Stone Skin or Flame Shield. Like I said, you could swap these out with whatever you want. Flame Shield with fire if you want more fire resistances and be more tanky. But I would go with Stone Skin because it reserves more energy, which we're getting more damage from our cold stuff because we're reserving. But you're also getting a lot more armor. You're being more tanky. When enemies hit you, you're retaliating with cold and fire from both the auras. But yep, that's about it for that. And then later on, you can go into Flame Volley, and this is basically gonna be a spell that hovers above you. And what I would do is choose Orbit, go Amplify Damage, Enhance Amplify, and basically you'll have little fireballs that just kind of hover around you and automatically attack enemies as you're spending energy. So the more energy you spend, the more of these amplified orbs you have. It's pretty cool. But yeah, and then I think I just talked about this. Yep, I'm talking about that. But that's about it for this. Now let me talk about the rogue version of this build and how you would actually get more damage. Alright, so I am on my rogue right now, and I want to show you guys some things that the rogue version would offer you guys. So if you are doing the rogue version, I would make a rogue first, and there's a specific reason for that. And then I would go storm afterwards, so you go rogue and then storm. But you would do the same thing that I just explained in the beginning of the video. You know, you would go knowledge and all that stuff. But the main reason you would want to do that is because for the rogue, when you dodge, you get a dodge attack, and that gives you more damage, and it gives you more crit chance. So you're going to get 60% more damage and 150% more crit chance, which is pretty much like 15%. And that is really going to help with that build and get your crit chance up. Alright, another cool thing is his passives on the rogue. You can go into accuracy, and you can get more crit chance and more crit damage multiplier. So this is going to be really great too. And then you can go into there's going to be other spell stuff in here too as well. Yeah, you can get more spells up here, but your aura that you're going to be speccing into is going to be preparation, and you can also get, it's going to reserve more mana, and you can also get more crit chance and multiplier. So this is going to be really nice. You probably wouldn't go into ability enhancement, and then you can use your other points to go into mark, and you can start marking enemies or bosses, or you can go into vanish, which you can get even more damage, 100% increased damage, and then you can get even more crit chance and crit multiplier. So a lot of good synergy with the rogue storm combo if you want to try and get your crit chance up and your crit damage up. But yeah, that is about it for the storm rogue version. I plan on making this pretty soon. So yeah, that is about it. If you want a super fast clearing, boss melting, super tanky build, go with this. I think I cleared everything all the way up into the final story boss in like 2 hours and 30 minutes. Something like that. It was very quick and easy. And I spent like a couple more hours just farming for some gear. But yeah, very tanky and lots of damage. AoE clear is great too. I love it. So anyhow, hopefully you guys liked it. I will see you guys next time. Peace.